Welcome back to Unstabled. I am Jeff Steckel, aka Big Steck, and I am your humble and loyal and solo host for the show today. This is the 32nd episode. As of the recording, we are at 61 subscriptions, so appreciate all the support as always. And we're trying to bump those numbers up, so make sure you subscribe, hit the notification bell so you don't miss anything, like, share. If you're a Colts fan, you come to the right place. If you're not, you've come to the right place to talk some spec. We appreciate comments. We appreciate the interaction. So just make sure you drop us a line. We'd love to talk about it, whatever it is you got to say. I'm flying solo. Justin, busy guy, family guy. He's got a lot of sports activities going on with his kids, so understandable. And Alex is near Tampa. So my thoughts are definitely with him and everybody in the area, especially after Helene. Just thoughts, prayers, everything going out to them. And I haven't heard from Alex, so I hope he's doing what he needs to do to prepare for Milton coming in. It looks bad. So my thoughts again, everybody out there. I hope you all stay safe and do what you got to do. Take care of yourself, take care of your family, and I hope to hear from y'all, especially everybody in the area. I know Trevor over at 3rd and Teal is I guess northwest of Jacksonville, so I don't know how bad they're expected to get it there, but doesn't really change. We're thinking about you, and yeah, I hope everyone stays safe. So coming off of a kind of a backbreaker, heartbreaking loss, it's kind of, I don't know whether I'd rather get blown out or lose after a great comeback, but either way, it's a tough pill to swallow. I celebrated my 36th birthday yesterday, and Colts haven't won for 10 years. So I was 26 the last time that the Colts won in Jacksonville. And, it was Andrew Luck. So it was some time ago. So this was another tough one. It was close. We're going to talk about the negatives. I don't like to end the show on a bad note, but I do admire the team's resilience. It seemed like they were kind of down and out, and they didn't stop. They didn't go away. They refused to stop, and I really do appreciate that from them. But it just unfortunately wasn't enough. Excuse me. Long day. Yeah, it was a tough game. It was tough. There was one big injury of note, and I was watching it on my phone. I was streaming it. I'm in Houston, so I don't get the games locally. I'm not going to pay YouTube stupid subscription price to watch it. I'm not going to pay that. I don't have it. I don't have money to do it right now. So if y'all help us out with that, maybe one day I can start getting all the Colts games, and I won't have to go to coltstreaming.org or whatever pirate site I use. But so I was watching on the small screen, and I thankfully didn't get to see the injury. They wouldn't replay it either for obvious reasons. It was from what I'm understanding, a pretty bad, I don't know if it was fibula or what it was, but it was his lower leg. Apparently it was nasty. And apparently he got surgery in Jacksonville. So obviously he got thrown on the injured reserve, which is tough. So they were, and I think Braden Smith, if I'm not mistaken, was on the injury report most of the week. I could be wrong, but he didn't look great against what was his name, Walker? I believe that was his name. Let me check here so I don't say the wrong person. He had 3 sacks. Yeah, Trayvon Walker. He and there should have been 2 or 3 more in there. So Smith had a rough game, and he came off of a really good game against TJ Watt in Pittsburgh. So I think there was definitely something going on there. I still think Bortolini did a great job filling in for Kelly. I didn't see a whole lot of pressure coming in off of Quentin Nelson. It's kind of hard to. Off of Raymond, I didn't see a whole lot of pressure. It was mostly off that right side. So hopefully they get back up to 100% soon. Will Fries, wish him the best. I hope for a fast recovery. I as of right now, I don't know, if the surgery was done or I'm hoping it was or it will be successful, and we can see him better next year. They were doing pretty good, so that's not something you want to see. So negatives in this game, obviously, when you score 34 points, you should win that game. and you lost 37-34. So that's tough. You don't want to see that. And the Jacksonville had been struggling all season. Their line close to the bottom, ranking wise. You hope for more, but with the Colts being so depleted, Buckner, no Tyquan Lewis went on injured reserve, no Juju Brents, no Kenny Moore. I mean, half the damn team is either hurt or on injured reserve. It was tough. It was tough watching this defense. I think they averaged like 9 yards per play, which is monumental. I saw, here it is, the defensive rankings, and I don't know if you want to cover yours for this one, but yards per game, 419, yards a game, pass yards a game, 262, rush yards allowed 157, points allowed 122, first downs allowed 114, time of possession almost 61%, which is good for 32nd, 29th, 31st, 32nd, 32nd, 37th. That is not winning football. In the game against Jacksonville, they had lowest pressure rate ever recorded. I harped on this during the whole offseason. The Colts were terrible at pressure rate, and it happened again. They had one pressure on 34 dropbacks. That is historically bad. And I came into the season saying it would be a big disappointment if the Colts finished outside of the top 10, this front seven, and being 29th to 32nd in pretty much every category is not where I anticipated. Injuries, I get it, but it happens to every team. And you got to start looking at, I'll get to Gus Bradley, but you got to start looking at the personnel on this team. Dallas Flowers got burned by Brian Thomas Jr., and he's fast. He's a good receiver. I can understand it. Dallas Flowers, if you see in the thumbnail, it was bad. He got burnt, dove for some reason. I mean, he was already getting beat. Diving wasn't going to fix that problem. He just looked inept. And I'm okay with you getting beat. I like the effort, but it's just, I mean, I don't know if y'all remember. I can't remember what team it was in baseball where the guy dives and the ball flies 15 yards or 15 feet behind him. It's like, well, then, E for effort. So, but he was burnt, and that was terrible. They released him. He was waived. And then they signed up another practice squad corner. So there's a few corners out there. I don't know if they've got to be better than the corners that they've been fielding to this point. I don't know why. He's failed to address the secondary. I can't really blame him so much for the defensive line. Who could have thought Buckner, Lewis, Ibukum? I'm sure I'm missing some names. There's a lot. They weren't anticipating having to have Latu start. Like, it was going to be kind of more of a rotational guy until he was starting. And my whole issue with Gus Bradley is when you've got so many injuries across the board, you have got to find ways to make shit work. I'm sorry, my neighbors are ridiculous. You've got to find ways to make stuff work. So you've got to be creative. You've got to find a way to get pressure. You've got to find a way to do these things. And I'm okay with getting burned on a play so long as you let their quarterback know you're there. None of that happened. They were getting burned, and they didn't let them know they were there. And I put that on Gus Bradley. You as a coordinator, as the play caller, you have to find a way to do these things, and he didn't. If Latu is the best lineman you've got, they're gonna double you. They're gonna have obviously their tackle on you, or whatever, wherever he lines up, and they're probably gonna have the running back chip you or the tight end chip you. They're gonna put two guys on you. It's what they did. Every single play, 4, 4, 4, 4. Trevor easily had the best game of the season. I did come into this game saying that if he was going to right the ship and he was going to bounce back from this bad start that they've had, it would be this game. The Colts have historically made him look phenomenal. I mean, he's had games where he's had 80+ completion percent, 90+. They had their clown game. And we talked about this in depth on Third and Teal. Make sure you jump over there. I was on there with Trevor and Eric and, of course, the host Isaiah. That it's already posted, so if you want to check that, but make sure you show them a little bit of love. Not too much because they're Jaguars fans, but but I was on their show and we went into depth about this. Their line isn't good. It hadn't been. They improved last week and obviously against the Colts, but you've got to find ways. I don't care if you're bringing in Nick Cross, EJ Speed, one of these corners. They can't cover. Maybe they can get in Trevor's face. I don't know. It's Jalen Jones. Hey, he had a good game. He forced another fumble. It was an easy fumble by Gabe Davis, who apparently was a little prima donna on the sidelines. And then after he had his little tiffy tantrum, the next play he coughed up the football. So it's like, yeah, maybe just keep your mouth shut. But Jalen Jones, I think he is easily the best corner on this team without Kenny Moore, who didn't play either. Man, I don't know what else to say about it. You got to bring pressure. So if Latu's taking those double teams and Grover Stewart, he's a block eater, send someone behind him. Again, send one of these corners, send a safety, send a linebacker in. I don't care. You got to do something, and he did nothing. There was no adjustment the entire game. Trevor did whatever, whenever. He only had 6 incompletions. He did have a pick. I'll give the shout out to Nick Cross. He's played really, really well this season. I'm happy to admit that I was wrong. I was saying get rid of him after, training camp and the injury to Downs. I was saying get rid of him. So I'm more than happy to eat crow on that one. He's looked really good. EJ Speed, 7 tackles. Jalen Jones played well, forced the fumble, 6 tackles. Latu had 6 tackles. Zaire had 10. So there are some players on the defense making plays, just not enough, nowhere near enough. And you got to make it work with the personnel you're given. I mean, again, I'm okay with giving the deep play if you're getting in their face and you're making him uncomfortable. They were beating us over the top, and he was perfectly comfortable. So, we had this argument on this AFC South show about it, and the secondary is so young and they're not very good. Dropping more back gives them some help. Obviously, it's not working. First 2 games, the Colts let up almost 500 rushing yards. Those 2 games, the last 3 games, they let up over 300 yards to Fields, Caleb Williams, and now Trevor had almost 400. And they let up over 100 to Bigsby in this game. He averaged like 9 yards a carry or something stupid. So nothing in this game was working. Their run defense, pass defense, none of it was working. And I put that on. I'll put that on Gus Bradley, and I will put some of that on Gus or on Ballard for he did have a lot of depth in this on the line. Edge rushers. He had defensive linemen. There was good depth. They all just got hurt. But that secondary, he didn't do anything to address. So that's kind of on him. But as a coordinator, you got to make it work. You got to make shit happen, and Bradley isn't. There's a lot of stuff going around. Fire Gus Bradley. It's probably not going to happen. You fire him, it's just going to be one of his staff that he hired on to be his assistant. So it's just going to be more of the same. There are people out there. Sela, whatever his name is for the Jets, just got fired. They're saying, well, fire Gus and bring him in as the DC. No one's going to want to take over this defense midseason. It just is what it may be in the offseason, but I'd be 100% shocked if Bradley's gone and Sela takes the job. I can't see that happening. So, but those are pretty much the negatives. I mean, there was, Joe Flacco got sacked. I think he fumbled again on a Tavon Walker sack. So, again, Smith was having a rough day. But I will say that Joe Flacco, 39 years old. I don't know if this was a career game, but it was a damn good game by Joe Flacco. 33 of 44, 33 to 44, 359 yards, 3 touchdowns. That should win you games. And I like how they're trying to get it done. Mitchell more involved. It's been rough in his rookie. I mean, he's already had 2 starting quarterbacks, so that carousel continues. But they're trying to get him more involved. I appreciate that. He had a pass for 24 yards. It was very creative play from Shane Steichen. I asked for more of that, and it happened. We got what we needed out of Trey Sermon. I was hoping he'd average in that ballpark at 3 to 4 yards. I know he's not a home run hitter. That's not his style. But I don't think maybe the game pace didn't really dictate it, especially going. I mean, it was a close game in the first half. Maybe they could have ran the ball a little bit more. I don't like that they didn't get Alec Pierce involved early, but we'll get to that because that is one of the brightest spots of this offense. But overall, I mean, Joe Flacco, phenomenal. Josh Downs, 9 receptions, 69 yards. Pittman, 5 for 37 and a touchdown. Mo Alley Cox had a touchdown, almost a second one. And it was just out of his fingertips, man. It was right there. It was a little bit long, but man, it was close. Yeah, he almost had a second touchdown. Alec Pierce almost had 2 touchdowns. And I just to talk on that for a minute, we talked about it on 3rd and Teal. They called it a touchdown on the first one. The one that Trey Sermon wound up punching in didn't really make any damn difference. I don't think you can overturn that touchdown. Like, there was nothing definitive in video. Oh, his leg definitely bumped his leg. Can you really tell? I mean, again, I was watching on a small screen, so go ahead and drop it in the comments if it was pretty obvious, but it looked close. But I feel like in that situation, can you really tell that his foot or leg really bumped his? I don't think there was anything there to like, oh yeah, definitely touched it. It didn't matter. I'm just pulling hairs on that one. It would have just been nice to see Alec Pierce get 135 instead of 134 and 2 touchdowns, but it is what it is. It helped me in fantasy football for Trey Sermon. It was barren at running back, so I started Sermon in a couple leagues. So it was nice that he got that touchdown. So, and he was used a little bit in the passing game, 25 yards there. So about a 13-point fantasy day, so not too terrible. It was nice to see the tight ends get more involved. Obviously, Mo Alley Cox just missed one more touchdown. Both Will Mallory and Ogletree had a catch. Granted, it was 7 and 5 yards respectively, but at least they're getting more involved. And I kind of expected that with Flacco. He's always been he's always gone to the tight end. So it was nice to see them get more involved. I just can't talk enough about that fourth quarter comeback, down 14 to wind up tying the game. Those were some huge plays by Alec Pierce. Some really good. I mean, they were pretty much. One was he just beat the guy, and Cisco kind of screwed up his coverage. He had a bad break on it. Had a terrible angle. Used the over top help, and obviously he didn't come in with that help. So, and then the other one was Alec Pierce is wide open, kind of on a deep cross. Just burned his man, and again Cisco out of place. So 3rd and Teal, they were talking a lot about Cisco, like, what the fuck are you doing? He was even, I think he was even involved on the Mo Alley Cox, just looked lost and confused. And it was a beautiful pass by Joe Flacco, just dunked it right over him. It was perfect touch. Anthony Richardson, if you were watching this game, if you were taking some notes, man, that's how you get it there. Sometimes you need a bullet, sometimes you need that little touch on it. Something that he's still got to learn. I mean, he's still obviously 22. He's still really young. So, and speaking of which, on the Anthony Richardson, a lot of people are saying Flacco should start for this team. Flacco should start. If the coaches are gonna do that, it needed to be at the beginning of the year. If they set Anthony Richardson down for Joe Flacco now, it should have been the beginning of the season. They came in, Anthony Richardson's the starter, Flacco's the backup. Whether you like it or not, I think that's just kind of what it is. I'm looking at the injury report though, and Shane Steichen said he is our starting quarterback when he returns to full health. I think the operative words there are when he returns to full health. So when is the coaching staff going to determine that he is full health? Will it be, and this isn't a preview episode, but will it be against the Titans or further out? So I think that might be those key words, and sometimes coaches will play with those. And he's when he returns to full health. So we'll see how much we get of Flacco. We just need to see more of Anthony Richardson, honestly. Like, Colts are sitting at 2-3. Flacco's coming off a fantastic game. But we need to know if this is the guy going forward or not. I mean, obviously Flacco isn't. Right now, he might give us the best chance to win. Remains to be seen. Jaguars also don't have a great defense. Like, they have good players in places, but they also let the Bills shred him, who just got Josh Allen looked terrible against the Texans. So they absolutely shredded Jacksonville. And but yeah, Anthony Richardson, I think going forward, he is going to be the starter. It just when will they determine as he's fully healthy? I think those words were very important in Shane Steichen's report. But man, Alec Pierce, I came in when he was drafted and said this kid has the potential to be the number one receiver. He's like a 4.3, 140. I think he's 6'3, 6'4, something like that. Physical freak. Like he played basketball. He's an athlete. He's an athlete. It just didn't come together, and you have to blame a little bit of that on that quarterback carousel that he went on. Matt Ryan, who couldn't put hardly any air under the ball. Then you had Minshew, who was pretty inconsistent. You saw the inconsistencies with the Raiders in this last week. He'll have really good games and really bad games, and that's what Pierce had to deal with. Now he's got two guys that can put some damn muscle behind the ball, which really brings out his strength, which is, of course, those deep routes, getting behind people, that 4.31 speed. He finally has two quarterbacks that can deliver that. So he's shining. I really thought that he was going to drop to that 4 spot because they got it done in Mitchell. And, he's a rookie. So I gave Alec Pierce the benefit of the doubt. I'm going to give Mitchell. I was close to writing off Alec Pierce, though. So I'll admit to that. But these last couple of weeks, he has emerged as the most consistent weapon outside of Downs, because I can't blame Downs for being hurt. I can blame Nick Cross for that, but I can't blame Downs for that. He came in, immediate impact. He's had a great rapport with Joe Flacco. I think he and Anthony Richardson had a good one too. So he is the most reliable weapon, but the big threat, that goes to Alec Pierce. Pittman, I mean, he's a dog. I mean, I just don't think on a lot of other teams, I don't think he's their number one. You know what I mean? He might be kind of that 2-3. I don't think he's a 1. He's had some really good games. Don't get me wrong. I do like Pittman. I don't want you all to think I'm bashing him, but I think he'll start to have better games. People have got to start respecting Alec Pierce. They've got to start being, I guess, honest. They can't just be selling out on Pittman. If we stop him, we shut down their pass game. Well, now you got Alec Pierce to worry about. So you got to keep the defense honest. And I think Pittman will start to have better games as the season goes forward. So there was a lot of positives, mostly on the offensive side of the ball. A couple of stars on the defense. I was really hoping for Latu to take this game over, but when you've got Gus Bradley that refuses to do anything, because like I said, they're going to double team him. He's their best rusher. You take him out of the game. Everybody else is hurt. So I was really hoping he would be able to take this game over and kind of show them why they drafted him at 15, but I think I got to blame that on the scheme. I hope Steichen is in his ear. I really do. I don't know if they're I said in I don't know if they're calling them tweets or whatever on X, but I said, man, their seats have got to be getting really, really hot. Ballard said, hey, if the team that I put on the field gets me fired, then I get fired. So he's dying on that hill. I like the guys we've got, and if it gets me fired, it gets me fired. Well, Colts are sitting at 2-3, and I asked the question going into the season, is there a scenario where Colts miss the playoffs and he's the GM in 2025? I said no. You got Flacco, you got Anthony Richardson, the back, you got two very good, very different quarterbacks. I don't think one getting hurt is really the excuse. I think the personnel on defense is a problem. I think the coordinator calling those plays is a problem. But I'll just leave it at that. But I do think this game would have been a little bit different with Jonathan Taylor on the field. He's obviously a lot more explosive than Trey Sermon. Obviously, Kenny Moore, I think, would have made a difference, especially some of that underneath stuff. So it was just a cripple fight. Like Jacksonville was banged up, and it was a great game. It really was. It was a fun game to watch. It's nice to see a team that doesn't give up when it looks like okay, the game's over. It's just kind of heartbreaking to tie it up and then just let them do whatever they wanted again. Gus Bradley bringing 4, hits the field goal. You got 17 seconds left. Flacco heats a sack to end the game. That sucks to end a game like that. I'm not saying that they should have won the game with 17 seconds left. I'm just saying you don't want to see the game end on a sack whenever you just 37-34. I don't know if I'd rather get blown out, but it was a really good game. It would have just been a great game. Day before my birthday, they finally get a win in Jacksonville. Now we got to say maybe 2025. I just know, like many Colts fans, I'm just getting tired of saying maybe next year. There's next year. We want it this year. I hope they turn it around. I hope they figure things out. I hope Gus Bradley adjusts because, man, that 1 out of 34 dropbacks where they had one pressure out of 34, something's got to change. Something has to. I hope they figure it out. I'm going to wrap it up there. My kiddo's getting out of school, so I got to get him off the bus. But thank you guys so much for joining me and putting up with my ADHD brain for half an hour. I do appreciate it. Make sure you hit that notification bell, subscribe, like, share. I'll be on Titans Takeaways tomorrow. We'll have a very special guest. Make sure you check us out there. And, of course, this AFC South show, I believe we're recording Thursday, as well as the preview for the Titans game on Thursday as well, which will probably drop Friday. So make sure you hit all the notifications, hit all the likes, all the shares, all the subscribes so you don't miss a beat. Always, as always, go Colts for the shoe. We bleed blue, baby. And we'll catch you in a few days. Y'all be a good keeper.